Here.
Stancil. Here.
Hobbs.
Here. Review agenda, any changes to the agenda? Excuse me, I just noticed a small error on the resolution to approve the sale of the public health building. It says conservation instead of public health, so we'll amend that when we get to that resolution.
It says public health.
On the actual resolution.
Oh,
Yes, it has it in one spot, but we just take the other one, that's just. Okay, so other than that, I don't see any issues with the agenda, anybody else? Okay. All right, I move we approve the agenda.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, consent agenda. I just have a couple questions on the claims, and I don't know if you can answer, because it has to do with secondary roads. The first one is reconstruction for $21,218. Do you know what that is?
It's for the down payment on the doors, I call them, as down payment of the doors on the.
On doors, for annex?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so that's getting started. All right. The other one was Lincoln Concrete for $15,000. Annex, do you know what that's for?
Chip, is he here?
Chip, what was the $15,000 claim for Lincoln Concrete?
The parking lot out to the Neil site.
Oh, the parking lot up at the Neil site, okay. Do you know what was the issue?
We had a couple elderly trip, as a trip hazard, preventing a future lawsuit.
Okay, thank you. All right, other than that, does anyone else have any questions on the consent agenda? Nope. All right, I move, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are now in our public hearing for the sale of the public health building, by auction. In the packet, you'll find, what the cost would be for us to sell it. It came in as appraised at $500,000, and the estimated cost to sell it with the appraisal and the auctioneer is $14,500. Of course, if it sells for more, the auctioneer takes a percentage. That's just an estimate. If it sells at the appraised price. So now is the time for folks to come and speak on that. You will, since it is a hearing, you will have 10 minutes to speak. Yes, but we'll have to vote. So we'll go ahead and vote to go into public hearing. Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved to go into public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are now in public hearing, so please come on up. If you want to speak to that, you have 10 minutes. Please state your name and your city where you're from.
Okay, I'm Steve Reed, and I live here in Madison
Can you
County.
make one moment, please? I'm getting a low battery. Okay, but you're recording on there. Okay, good. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, now I'm all flustered. No. I live here in Madison County, and as far as that building, I mean, do you have a cost estimate on a building to replace that for the veterans? Do you have anything like that in place, or?
Well, the veterans have an office, and we'll be moving their office in either this building or the courthouse. That hasn't been decided yet.
I see. And the courthouse doesn't have the handicap restrooms and that.
Correct. So that's why they'll probably be this building.
I see, okay. Well, the only thing I was gonna say, and we gave cost estimates to improve that building, to make it handicap accessible and everything. And, it could be done for less than that. We were the low bidder at $300,000, which, and we don't need the work. If you know me, I'm done. No work, we know what to do with. But it seems like that would be more cost effective. Plus, there's an empty lot to the side of that too. I just think you're gonna have a hard time doing what you wanna do for the veterans and the health system for much less money invested in that, plus you already own it, and I think it's probably a pretty, well, we looked the building over, it's a bomb shelter. I mean, it's all poured concrete and masonry, but anyway, I guess that's just my opinion. It seems like maybe rather than trying to sell things we have, is to fix up what we have, and, I mean, I don't know if there's future growth. I mean, we always have veterans, you know, and I don't know what else you're thinking about putting in there, but if nothing else, that could possibly also include some rental office space for some income to offset some of the costs, but anyway, that's my opinion for what it's worth, so.
Thank you.
Right.
Anyone else? If there's anyone on the phone who wishes to comment, please hit *6 to unmute yourself, and then please speak. It's your last chance. If you want to say anything, please come to the podium.
Vicky Brenner, Winterset, Iowa. I did not prepare remarks to speak to this issue, but I would just ask if you have provided any cost-benefit analysis as to what the building is costing us now, and whether or not you actually have some data and research to show us what renovating, whether it's this building or the courthouse, is going to cost. So I'm also very aware you've already made your decision, your plan to sell the building, but it is frustrating to me and a lot of other citizens how two people can have this much control over valuable property and decision-making without more research and data. Thanks very much.
I can answer your question. It's about $5,000 to $6,000 a year for maintenance, upkeep, air and heat. I did some research. It's about a 7,000 square foot building. If you replaced it, it would be about 400 square foot, so that's 2.8 million. Then you'd have to buy the land, that'd be another 200,000. You'd have to hire an architect. So you'd probably end up with about 3.5 mil to just replace that building. So that answers some of your questions.
Thank you very much. It just seems to me that if you get out in front with public information about how you arrive at these decisions, it's very helpful for the citizens to understand why you were doing what you're doing. And more data like that would have been very helpful.
Anyone else wish to speak? All right, we'll go ahead and I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I will make a motion to go out of public, hearing at 9:39.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going ahead into department head reports. We had a request by Michele to go first because you have to get back to the office, and I understand that.
Thank you. Good morning, board. Michele Brant, Madison County Auditor. Sorry. Did a little bit better this week. You can also send these electronically if you would like them. Just let Matt know. There you go. Our cash balancing for 25 is complete with 95% of its reports entered into the Department of Management. From there, we need to move into the accrual, and that's when we'll be ready to start the budget processes. The goal, as I stated last week, was to resume monthly expenses by department to each department. We are not there yet. In response to requests that the Board of Supervisors posed via email, there were 3 items that you needed, and you'll see there that I can only answer one of them because we are not up to date on month-end balances. There was an error in the amount of homestead tax credits given, and that they were bigger, they were twice as big. So I have provided you the budget numbers on the top line, the abstract of taxes, which is what was sent out, and the difference below. That'd be for the general basic, general supplemental, debt service, and rural basic. The individual amounts are below, and the total is $31,000 in less taxes received. The things that won't be answered by me today is the current cash balances and the current budget up to date with year end and month end. The elections update, the auditor will be pre-programming. The auditor's office will be reprogramming and retesting the equipment for the election. Please note there were no user or machine errors discovered during the public test last week. However, there was an annexation by the city of Winterset in 2022. It crossed the city boundary into a new precinct. The area had never had a precinct split, and the addresses were created after the last city and school board, so it was not an issue until now. There's no problems, however, we do need to we need to do public testing again, and we have that planned for, I believe, Thursday? Or Friday, because we have another meeting that day. The new voting jurisdiction had been created in our systems with the new precinct split, and it's going to be included in the reprogramming. The SOS has been advised and has assisted us in this matter. The budget process timeline is different. It's being modified and it depended upon month-end balancing with the treasurer's office. So that first thing that we were going to do November 1st is changed to be determined. The budget worksheets distributed to departments, again, to be determined. However, if we cannot get this done, the expense summaries out, we will figure a workaround well before December 1st. I just want you to know we're not going to repeat last year. I guarantee you we are not going to do that. We'll figure it out. November 25th, we have a public hearing for a budget amendment, providing I can prepare one. Again, dependent. December 8th, we have the compensation board hearing. Initially, I had set it for the 3rd or around the 1st Monday. However, Jill contacted me, and she's the secretary, and evidently the minutes reflect that they had set it for the 8th, so we'll stay with that date. Then December 9th would be a budget planning meeting. We have to set that up to go over with the board, the setting, deadlines and meeting schedules. I'm gonna suggest that we do a work session prior to the evening meeting. Sorry, this gets a little long and boring, but I promise to be thorough. I have no further results or requests from the auditor's state auditor report. The other areas of my concentration, the data and safety security. I have a deactivation order in for non-employees and previous employees. The order has been placed, I just need to get it confirmed. Solutions wanted just a double check from each department head that what I was telling them was correct, and I was very comfortable with that. To evaluate solution systems regarding deactivation of employees to be combined with onboarding and offboarding, that is in progress. And a discussion about VPN with each department head and elected official, that is not started. The courthouse, as the courthouse custodian, I've done a supervisor meeting with Maintenance Director C. We're gonna be moving the BOS report printer and making it wireless on October 30th. Yet and in progress are scopes of work with all the staff and vendors. Hopefully you guys have seen a positive result from our new employee, Alex. Are you pleased? How do you like it?
Yes.
Good.
He's dusting our desks now.
I love it. And again, just communicate if there's something you don't want him to do. All right, and then the individual staff meetings with the maintenance and grounds has not started. We do have an overtime report from October 13th to the 17th. We had 7.75 hours for the elections deputy. Of course, you know, we have to come in every morning and every night to count ballots. Then we lock them up and secure them. from October 18th to the 24th. That included a Saturday. It was an absentee deadline. There was election ballot preparation, PEO training, and public testing for a total overtime hours of 18.5. And the maintenance supervisor had covered bridge tours in total of 9 hours over the weekend of Covered Bridge Festival. There was a night board meeting that required 4 hours, and alarm system malfunctions, which we're working on that.
It's been
That's a good-
ongoing for a
that's a
long
No,
time.
it's actually, we pulled the trigger.
We got it.
It was approved back in February, I think, was the first bid.
was the first bid. If you don't mind me jumping in here, what happened was last week, this was Friday, it was last week, right?
Yeah.
It was last. So, I was on deck and, the alarm malfunctioned. This is the fire alarm, so they were getting calls out in the middle of the night. And Michele, Chip, and I met and said, this is a maintenance issue, this is a safety issue, we can't not have a fire alarm working. It can affect our building, it can affect the safety of our employees, so we just pulled the
And
trigger.
overtime.
And overtime, and we just pulled the trigger and said, let's just get it done. We got a revised bid, and
I think it was sent to everybody.
yes.
Did you get it?
It needed to be.
No, I mean, it's
I think we
great.
did, but.
It was a really good, it was a good demonstration of working together and communicating.
Yes, so we just pulled the trigger, she received the bid, signed the bid, we just moved forward. I was gonna update you guys today on that, so you're aware of it. Thank you for mentioning it, Michele.
You're welcome.
That's kind of the gist of it, we just decided because it was a safety issue.
And it had been approved before, so it wasn't like a new item.
Right.
Do you understand? Yeah. Okay, move on to public health. The only reason this hit my plate is because it hit my first deputy's plate. We received inquiries about certain tasks related to the public health entity. I reviewed the addendum and 2080 agreement with Warren County, the old one, I think. I don't think I have access to the one that this was an addendum to.
I haven't seen it either.
Right? Well, I'm thinking it's in Steve's office, so I'll get it, I promise. But anyway, I think this current status is that the chair of the BOH has it and is ready to sign the addendum.
I don't know, I can follow up with
They
that.
have a work session on Tuesday, and then it would be voted on the following week,
Okay,
so that's
perfect.
today.
Thank you. So the task completed with regard to what fell on my plate is, I updated the administrator information as a function of the IT director that pertains to Andrew's phone. And then we removed the public health cell phone as of October 23rd. All charges associated now with this will go to environmental health per the budget. IT equipment has been brought back to the courthouse for inventory.
From public health.
Oh, yep, we went out there, I think, right around the day I met with Susan.
Yeah.
It's my understanding, so again, I will be emailing this to whomever you guys tell me to email this to, but the auditor's office will still administrate the emergency preparedness grant, make payment to Warren County in the amount of $73,500 per year. And, I've got questions about that. Even with the 20E agreement, it's my understanding that Madison County will maintain QuickBooks for $75 a year. And because we are gonna retain the reporting requirements for the EPG,
We have to, don't we?
I'm gonna be asking. I work with Joelle. It is estimated that my assumption is, yes, we are going to do that. And then I did ask Susan how much time per week that might take, just that overall, she thought she spent about an hour a week, and she can chime in if she's listening. The CenturyLink service for the phone lines need to continue for Veterans Affairs, but can be relocated. The following dues have been paid through February 26th, that's ISAC, the Iowa Department of Public Health, and the Iowa Cancer Consortium. The Warren County Public Health plans on a presence, and this was surprising to me, but 1 time per week. And that they require Madison County expense of desk, paper, lock cabinet, a locked door for medical records stored on site. It is also my understanding the vaccines will not be stored on site. So that's my understanding.
Yeah, that was different than they talked about their last Board of Health meeting.
Yep, I figured we need some updating, but I just thought, this
Yeah,
is what I've been working on.
yeah.
The following questions are yet to be answered. Will we be involved, well, will we be invoiced? And because again, I think Jessica, you had concerns about invoicing and not getting invoicing from folks, you know, like libraries and such. So we're gonna make sure we don't miss that again. Regarding the current annual fee, does it go away? Because we do pay a month, an annual fee, or does it get added on to the 73.5? Will the BOH be responsible for the change of address for the public health, because the mail's still going there? Or will the mail go to Warren County? You know, where's the mail supposed to go? These are things I don't want falling between the cracks. Will Madison County be responsible for the future dues? What's all included in the 73.5? And then what, if any, reimbursements will there be for ads, mailers, publications, postage and mileage, education, training, vaccines and supplies, and a landline? So those are the things that I wanna make sure that if we budget for, because those were in public health's budget.
So regarding public health, I give you some, as part of my telecom update that I've been doing, it seems that lines, when we put the MediaCom lines in, the lines for public health, it should all been moved to that. They weren't, so we were basically paying for double,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Sure.
So, and this goes back a ways, so, we could actually just move the phone number for Veterans Affairs onto our VoIP system here,
Great.
or here, wherever we decide.
Yeah, I knew you were working on a piece of it,
So we don't have to do that, and regarding public health, we don't have to keep a line on site, we actually do what's called a market expansion line, where it just forwards from the telecom switch with the carrier directly to public health, so that's like, I think $50 a month, or no, $40 a month, so.
Great.
But that's something we can do, so once I finish all of that, I can work with you on that.
Yeah, but do you want me to send this information to the Board of Health or to you?
Put Board of Health. If
Okay.
you wanna copy me, that's fine.
That's
So
I do.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that way I know what they're thinking.
All right.
When they're thinking it, so that'd be great.
Okay. And the last item, my hiring resolution was removed from the agenda, because of, pending information that you were requiring from me. I am in a catch-22, folks. I'm trying to get you all the information I can. I do recall Supervisor Hobbs asking about considering it at the end of the meeting, but it was made clear to me that that's not how you guys remembered it. So I did meet with Jessica, and I would like, I'd asked Mac to put unfinished business at the end of this meeting. However, I do think you can bring the resolution back off the table during old business. And again, I would just request that you do that for me. And, can I answer any more questions for you guys that I have not covered?
I do have, just to let you know, there is a printer in public health, printer scanner, wireless printer scanner. Is there a way, rather than leasing another printer for the Board of Supervisor office, could we just repurpose that?
Actually, for the Board of Supervisors, yours is gonna be retrofitted free of charge to be wireless.
Okay.
So it just moves right over, just right around the wall. We
Okay.
just couldn't penetrate 2-foot vault walls, so the only reason it
Right.
didn't move. I'm meeting with Infomax on Thursday, and I think it's Thursday, guys, it's just all running together right now for me. And we're gonna assess every single printer we have and every, the necessity of and what's all included, because I don't have my arms around that yet.
Okay.
Fair?
And just for your knowledge, for VPN, from a safety security standpoint, VPN's not on the client, on the actual laptop. So, since we all have previous employees' laptops, hopefully back, there's no security issue, because the only way to get on the VPN is with the actual piece of hardware. So,
And
but
I'm
we
not
still need to
letting-
clean it up, we still need to
Thank you,
clean it up.
that's all I'm asking is,
I just wanna let you know, from a
because-
safety and security standpoint, we're okay,
correct.
but we need to have correct records, so.
Thank you, that's all
I'm
I'm
glad
going
you're
after.
doing that, yes.
All right, any other questions from anybody?
Thanks for getting so much done.
One more curious question, how many votes so far for testing?
We passed 100 yesterday.
It's not just the same as the last one.
It's starting to pick up this week. It was like really trickling in, we had like a couple a day, but it's going faster, so.
Yeah, we knew it would pick up, so as we got closer.
Alright,
Anyway, thanks, everybody.
alright. So that brings up, Jordan, our new weed commissioner.
I got, well, it's, sorry. There we go.
Good morning,
She doesn't
board.
say very much.
My name is Jordan Fitch, and I am the new weed commissioner / roadside manager. This year I had 11 complaints for noxious weeds on private property. With 10 of them, I sent notices to. All notices are sent certified mail. I created a procedure for noxious weed complaints, just so each time I get a complaint, just it's followed in the same step every time. Secondary roads has spent $1,699.50 so far this year on herbicides, which is 38% of the budget. We anticipate hitting the budget because we are spraying more brush than we have in the past. I got 3 quotes for herbicides and went with A+ Ag LLC. I have used $1,033.73 of my fuel budget so far this year, which is 35%, which is 2% over where I should be, but with winter time, won't be traveling around as much, checking leads and stuff. I have used $63.46 of postage this year, which is 42%, so shouldn't have any postage going out till this time, or till like June of next year, so should be alright there. I have used $45 for education and training, it's 15% of the budget, and I have used $32.28 for vehicle repair maintenance, which is less than 1%. For the months of June, July, August, and September, I was at 87% for working for secondary roads and 13% weed commissioner. Just looking back at previous weed commissioner, that number is lower on the weed commissioner side than previous years, because when he sprayed like the roadside ditches, he was putting it under weed commissioner, which now it is falling under the roadside manager department, since that is part of my title. I will plan on coming to the board meeting in February for the resolution put out in the paper for the dates to extract the noxious weeds for the landowners. And then also at that time, I think we need to put in the paper for bids for contract services if there is substantial failure to comply, somebody else comes and does that or whatever. So.
Explain that to the public, will you, how that works? I have a whole pasture full of thistles.
Right.
And I don't comply, so explain to them what you do.
So I will take a phone call, somebody calls in and complains, take the phone call, I will go out, take pictures, discover what I find. When I get back, make a work order, fill out the notice of compliance, fill out the notice, send it certified mail. Once they receive the mail, they sign off that they received the certified mail, and I get back when they received it. From that date and time, they have 5 days to comply. If they do not, if there is substantial failure to comply, then at that point, we go to the next step. I did not have any of that this year, but the next step would be to hire an outside source, a contractor, to come in and whether it's mow or spray, cut them, whatever it is.
And it's very expensive, and if they
Yes.
don't pay it, you put it on their taxes.
And it goes to their taxes, correct, yes. We didn't there was, just because of the fallout between when the last weed commissioner stopped and when I picked up, there wasn't anything, we actually didn't even have a resolution put out for when the weeds were supposed to be extracted this year. And we didn't have any contract services, so we were kind of in a bad spot if somebody did not comply.
But they all complied, so.
Yes, I had no issues. Everybody did great that I worked with, so.
Does your letter convey that if they aren't in compliance, how really costly this could be for them?
It does not say in there what it potentially could cost, just, I've never got a bid, so I can't really put anything in there, just not knowing what it would be. Yeah, so, no, it does not state anything in there on how costly it could be.
That might be something we should think about.
Okay.
I mean, they're gonna comply if they know it could cost $200 an hour.
Right.
And it could.
Yes, oh, yeah,
I think that's a good idea,
Yeah.
okay,
if I put that in
So
there.
they know that this could be not to their benefit, just go cut the weeds.
okay, yeah, no, that,
Just an idea, that's your lane, but.
Yeah.
Judge,
No,
you
that's-
could give
yeah.
some examples, that might be hard though to define, cause right, the different weeds, the different nature of the problem, the
how big,
severity of it,
yes, how big a
it
problem, how
is.
big a property, yes,
It's gonna
yes.
vary a lot.
Yes, it would be hard, but you could put,
Yeah.
I mean, even a bare minimum one, you could probably put at least a, you know, what it would be, and it's gonna be, it
Samples.
Very
could
close,
be
yeah.
pretty, yes, it's pretty pricey.
I think that sounds great. I'm happy to hear if people are complying.
Yep, I've had no issues at all, everybody's worked very well together, so. no
Thanks
complaints.
for, you've really gotten on top of, Teasel.
Yeah, that was a problem. Tried spraying as much as I could on that, yes, just
I
trying to
want
cover,
to commend you for researching prices of chemical. I mean, you
yeah.
saved
And
us
that's
a
in your
ton of money.
pamphlet too, that I gave you guys, yeah, just the, yeah, and I guess if you wanna go over that, just that first page that I gave you guys, I'm sorry, public, that I didn't make a flash drive or anything to put up there, but I just gave to the board a map of the complaints that we had, the areas in the county, and then just our work order system on just reported by, how many hours I have in it, the cost of it, what I noticed when I first did it, or when I first went on there. And then any roadside spraying that I did, whether it be for the noxious weeds or, like I said, we're spraying a lot more for brush now, because we've never really sprayed a whole lot. We take our brush cutters out and cut in the winter time, and we've never really hit them areas. So in 5 years, they're just as bad as what they were. So we've got a plan now, me and the road superintendent have a plan that every spring, fall, I'm gonna go back to anything that we've cut that winter and spray, so we don't have as much regrowth.
Did you know technically that per Iowa fencing code that we are supposed to keep our fence lines clean?
Did not. That is all I have. Do you guys have any other questions?
No, I appreciate the thoroughness.
You great information. Thank you, Jordan.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right, next one, Mike. Oh, I skipped Brady, I'm sorry. We'll save you for last, Mike, you're the best.
Okay.
Well,
No offense, Brady.
no, I don't have a lot of things to go over the news.
I'm sorry.
We could take them some.
Actually, I took your time last time, so you
That's
can.
right.
Yeah,
Brady.
How was Africa, Brady?
Good.
Thanks, Brady. Oh, my goodness.
Well, this is too long, since I missed talking about last month's. Alright. So for September and October so far, we've had 203 runs. You can kind of see the breakdown there. Kind of where we're going, 52% were in the city of, or in Winterset, Mayland, out in the county. 28% were in the city. And it's got Earl, St. Charles, Cherwell kind of broke down there. Those are just for the last 2 months so far. As far as at the ambulance, on the 16th, we had a emergency preparedness training, with the hospital, which was very good. The 17th, we did a CPR class. We did a special event football game on the 19th. The 20th, we did a chili cook-off. We participated in that. We only got seconds this year. We lost to dispatchers. Well, at least it wasn't the PD. So. The 25th, we had an opioid task force meeting, which was very good. We did accomplish a few things. We did find out some good information, very good information from the ladies that are in the schools. That was very, very informative. We did AED training with Winterset High School, which was very good. It was one of their AP classes. They were going over some of that stuff. So we got to go participate in that. On the 27th, we did the Wild Boar Challenge. We sat out there, we did have 3 patients from the Wild Boar Challenge that we did treat. No transports, just, treatment releases for that. We did have a meeting with the hospital about the transfers. Me and Diane had a meeting with the hospital. We did a football game on the 3rd. We did a public AED training. The line set up a public AED training in the back of the sports page, which went really well. They had, I don't remember I think we had 10 or 12 people there, which was very, it was a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, so that was pretty good to have that many people show up, I suppose.
Have we done that kind of training for employees?
We have not yet, no.
Okay.
But we can sure set that up. But yeah, we had a public training, kind of went over where the AEDs are at, located in the public buildings, where the AEDs are located at, in the public, in the parks, football fields, on the square, stuff like that, how to operate them.
Do we have at least one person per building that knows how to use it?
Yes, I have gone over with CPR AED with, I believe, at least one person per building.
Okay.
The auditor's office has had it before, might need to redo that. And then I know I've gone over it with the Brady's office, I believe.
When we first got those machines, they went through it with every employee.
And I did
So we have
CPR with them,
some
so.
turnaround on employees now that probably haven't seen it, but when we first got them, we all were able to see how the machines worked.
I don't think once a year refresher is a bad idea.
Yeah, I think once a year refresher for at least 2 employees per
Oh,
building,
yeah, we
in
can-
case someone's out of the office or.
Yeah, we can do that, not a big deal at all.
Do you teach the Heimlich? I mean, that would be another good thing to do.
We do.
Yeah.
We
Can
do.
I interject just with via the safety committee, we've been talking about that. We do have, upcoming training for all employees.
Oh, okay.
And that, I believe, is probably gonna be the next
Yeah.
all-employee-wide training. And I'll talk more about that in my board report, but
Yeah.
that is on our radar to do and absolutely have you do that for
Yeah,
us.
no problem,
If you're up for it.
no problem at all. After that, we had a science class come out, tour the ambulance garage, kind of go over, went through the ambulances, we kind of had a discussion with them, about how we operate.
Are you recruiting?
We're doing everything we can. Which is not everywhere, so. We did CPR first aid talk with, Winterset High School health class. I guess there was, 2 classes that missed. We usually teach it in junior high. I go teach CPR and stop the bleed to junior high every year. Somehow 2 classes got missed in some transition. So we went back and kind of went over it with them. I'm gonna go back, I believe it's at the end of November, go over some more stuff with them. The football game, Covered Bridge went great. We only had one call for service during Covered Bridge, which was very good as far as at the event. Football game on the 24th, the 30th coming up, we've got another opioid task force meeting. And then on the 31st, my staff is all getting recertified as CPR instructors.
Wow, all of those?
All but one.
Wow.
So, any questions I can answer for you?
I know we have a presentation later from,
She's
from our county memorial hospital. Did you want to speak anything to that?
We've,
Regarding the transport stuff or?
yeah, pretty much we haven't, as far as dispatch, I talked with dispatch yesterday. So far in the last, since we kind of set it up, letting them know that if, we've been emailing, we've been emailing people that if we don't have the staff to take them, since then, they have not been notified that we have not been unable to take a transport, but they have been notified of.
Okay.
So as far as we know, we have not yet.
Let me throw something up. At the beginning of every shift, could you contact the hospital and say, I'm so short, I can't.
If we can't take an
Every
ALS.
single shift and you never fail.
If we can't take a transport for an ALS service, yes, I email them every time.
I wonder if it should be a habit to do it every day, every time, so there's no miscommunication. We're fully staffed, we can do it. the next day you can't. Just not when you can't.
We can do that.
That's up to, between you and them, but,
I mean, I could,
so they can look on their board and it's a daily communication. We're fully staffed, we're good to go, or we're not. So that's between both of you.
we can do that. I mean, I let them know now if we can't take ALF transfers, so.
But if it's few and far between, I might forget to look. I don't know. I'm just,
Well, right now, well, from them, I email it to Stephanie, to the House Supervisor, to Kim Holbert, and to dispatch, so that everybody's aware that we can't take ALF transport between this time and this time.
I think we need to be very
So-
committed.
Cause the city of Winterset doesn't have their own ambulance.
Correct.
Unlike Erlon and.
Correct. And
Truro
and
St.
I
Charles.
remember when, I had a meeting with Dr. South yesterday, and he read through the entire Iowa statute. And even he said, we are a 911 service, if we drop a 911 call because of something, it is all.
We're in trouble.
We're in
So
trouble.
911 always comes first.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
now, Truro and St. Charles transport, but.
They can.
They
don't-
can, but
they
don't want.
They are provisional. If they have somebody, they can, but they don't even have to show up. We have to show
So it
up.
all falls on you.
Yes, we
For
have to show up.
911,
Yes.
Could the,
and Earlham doesn't transport. Earlham.
No, Earlham does not transport. Earlham does not transport.
That's why you show up at every call.
Yeah,
Because-
that's why
because
we
of
go to,
transport.
we go to every single dispatch in the county.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
question I had, I think some of the public was unaware why the ambulance service couldn't transport. Could something be put out publicly to tell why there are times that they cannot do that?
We can certainly do that, and if you wanna speak at public comment about that, we welcome your feedback.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, that's great. So-
I just say something that the public could be put out to explain to the public
At
why
the
there are
public
times.
At
that
the
they
comment,
public
can't.
comment, if you would
Yeah,
come
come on
up
up.
and provide your
Sure, and I'd be
that
more than happy
idea,
to
that
answer
would be
the phone.
great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you need to step to the microphone if you're speaking because the phone, people on the phone can't hear you unless you're speaking in the microphone. So, yeah, please speak in public comment.
So I know you guys had talks, I know Marcia's gonna probably talk about it more, so I just kinda wanted to get
You bet,
what
you bet.
you
Yeah,
guys are gonna do.
so pretty much, I mean, if we can take a transport, we're gonna take it. If we can't take it, unfortunately, we can't take it. That's just the way it is.
Okay, cause 911 comes first,
Correct.
alright,
That's what we're licensed through the state as.
alright, well,
Thank you.
thanks, Brady, thank you, Brady. Alright, Mike, I am sorry, last but not least.
All good.
Good morning. My name is Mike Hackett. I'm the Madison County Secretary of Roads Engineer. Thank you, board members, for letting me speak here today for a report. Thanks for everybody for showing up. We got a crowd today. Brady, I won't take as long as you did.
I don't believe you, Mike.
Actually, this is a rare instance.
Okay.
I'd like to circle around back to our weed commissioner. Jordy did a good job coming up here. He wears two hats. As he was speaking from two different aspects. One, the weed commissioner, and one's our roadside person. They are two separate issues, two separate departments we share. So that would be a half. He wears two hats. Thanks, Jordy, for coming up here and do that. And then as part of a kind of an administrating thing, if the board would maybe receive and file Jordy's report. I think that's probably a good idea
Okay.
when we circle back around to the weed commissioner portion, if that's all right with you, Jordan.
Yep.
Okay, I think that'll
If
just,
you could,
that'll help going forward, yeah.
if you could send it soft copy to all three of us and to Mac, the board clerk, that'd be great.
And that's something that we are trying to get on top of down there. We have a huge brush problem in the secondary road system. That's something that's went on for many years. I'm glad that Jordy's able to help us with that process. Anyway, back to secondary roads things. Yeah, this doesn't happen very often. Believe it or not, we are doing something down there. I have no resolutions for you. That's very rare that it happens that we don't have any resolutions, but I guess the stars just kind of lined up that way. So I'll be very quick here. I don't have any fancy presentations for you or no props today. I'm sorry if that disappoints anybody. The stuff I have to talk about a lot of times is the same stuff and it's kind of boring, so I kind of try to do that to help. But So I'm gonna just kind of give you a brief, what's kind of what happened the last 2 weeks. Pitzer Bridge, it's on schedule, and actually I have a deck pre-pour meeting, tomorrow. We're hoping to pour the deck of the bridge, either the end of this week or first of next week, and then we're looking at the approach. If the weather holds, it's a probability. And when I say probability, and I would say low, because we are starting to get to that time of year where the weather can change in a second. But optimistically, yeah, it'd be great if we get that open. That'll help everybody, not have to drive around, and especially with our road operations, for snow removal. Cummings Road, that's been an interesting project. The contractor is being charged, like all of our elect contracts, working days, and they're charged X amount of working days. If they don't comply, then they are a penalty. This contractor has been very busy, so he's moved it on and off the site. We're 95% complete. There's still things that have to be done out there. The main roadway is done, but some shouldering, some approaches, or what we call fillets at people's driveways and intersections, and some guardrail work.
You can withhold payment, can't you?
The system that we use penalizes based on a fee from the contract. So we can't withhold payment unless there is a deficient work, or they didn't do the right
So
paperwork.
they get a penalty.
They get penalty, and then we hold as 3% retainage on all those projects. So $4 million project, 3% plus, damages. We're not quite to that high. They'll come in, they'll get it finished. That's kind of construction, get it done here last minute. That's the way how it goes. We, as a local force, have worked on 105th. That's rocked and done. I'm hoping we get a little rain to help with that, settle it out. We're not done. There will be probably some blading and some top coat on that. We did a heavy pole, had some pictures of that last time. Got a wood deck replacement that's ongoing with the general maintenance, and of course we're blading and mowing and those type of things. As far as contracts going forward, it's probably been a little while since the title sheets were up here, but we have 2 bridge projects replacements on the Bennington Park Road. We're still in the right-of-way portion of that project, working with landowners and getting right-of-way purchased. General road conditions, we're making mud today. It was dust yesterday, it was mud today. Again, I said we're working in an outdoor factory. It's hard to see it all. I appreciate when people let us know where we can be, because it's hard to see it. We're aggressively working on patching and blading right now. Now the big topic, I kind of got to come to the end here. I want to address staffing concerns at the Secondary Road Department. It's getting very, very hard to continue through this process because we have staffing concerns. I think I mentioned before that we've lost some people. We've had an internal shift, which was a good shift. One was Jordy, but that half a person went somewhere else. And then we had some internal shift to take Jordy's old spot. So that's a concern. We had a retirement, and then we've lost motor grader operators to other counties. And currently, we have a Bridgman labor position, drainage foreman, and equipment operator open. We started basically a month ago into September with that process, and they've been advertised. We've interviewed, and it's becoming very difficult to find qualified people to come here and work.
How too low a pay are we, Mike?
I'm not going to go into that specific right now. I think I just want to report this is what's going on. I think that's something that we'll
Budgetary.
go over to the end. Yeah, budgetary. But I wanted you to be aware of it. So currently, we have 33 people working in the Secondary Road Department, 33 and a half. Okay. Sorry, Jordy. I wish you never came to the meeting now. 6 are office staff, engineering. 6 of those are office staff. 27 are maintenance. Half is Jordy. The numbers remain the same for years for budget constraints. If you were to run, well, I'll get to that. The 33 people we have, there's no buffer. There's no buffer for sick leave. There's no buffer for vacation leave or any other leave. We are in bare bones. We've been that way for decades. That's not anybody's fault. That's pretty typical of most of, I would say, counties of our shape statute. It's just the way it works. It has to do with a delicate balance of budget and retaining employees and trying to get projects done. But what I feel it's starting to become critical to have this conversation, because I don't know what we're gonna end up with if we can't keep this thing going. If you were to run this recommended staff, we need 52 employees. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen, not asking for that. Couple things I went back here, and looked at here is, this is a big one. 24 employees have left our department in the last 5 years. That's 75% turnover. Per year, that works out to 15%. That's too high. Average is about 8 for a political section. I didn't go into roads, but I just kind of go research what that is. So, yeah, 24 people in 5 years. There's also something else to kind of remember. I don't have this on my sheet. I tell people when I interview, of course, I've been here a while. This is a unique job, at least in the road department. I can't speak for other departments, but it's an outdoor factory that has seasonal changes. And you may only see that season once a year. So somebody that has 5 years, it takes about 5 years, 3 to 5 years to go through the process to learn your job. So I put it in perspective, like, let's say for example, I'll use a blade operator. 3 years ago, we had a big storm, but that wasn't the biggest storm we've ever seen. And it's been a while since we've had one of those ice storms that are this thick. It was powerful. Okay, so those things, those weather patterns affect maintenance operations. You don't see that, so you don't get that training of those people. So when you hire a guy, you invest in them, you do the training, you send them to training, they're out on a route, they just learned their route. We've been 3 or 4 winters and storms and mud and all the good stuff that goes on. And then they go to another county, it's hard. It's hard to keep it going. And then you gotta go through the training cycle again. Not even talking about all the advertising and the hours to sit down and do interviews and all that. Just, it's critical. So, where do I lead off here? Okay, critical point, retainage. So with this problem, I said, okay, what are we doing here? Staff, myself, kind of reached out to some neighboring counties and say, okay, you got the same problem, what's going on? A couple of them said, yeah, a couple said, no, we're working on this type of stuff, we've tried this. I said, great, can you share the information? So they shared what they're doing, so we gathered that information. I thought the next best thing to do is be share with HR, which I have, and I believe HR has forwarded that to our labor representatives, just so we have something to look at. Whether we can act on it, I don't know, but I think it's good to go forward and at least get to that point. So I guess the next step is recommend reviewing this information, kind of see how other counties are doing. I'm gonna reach out to a couple other places and see what's going on there. Try to maybe look at some changes, see how we could either recruit or retain. Retaining is the problem, well, recruiting is too. I guess I'd like to request the opportunity, and I'm sure you will, when we get to a point here as we're going forward with this budget, to be able to maybe get in front of this and have some discussions with HR, with our labor representatives, and whoever we need to do to try to keep people here, because face it, it's starting to be hard. And it also rolls over into a couple other things too. When I went to a safety meeting the other day, because you don't always, our crews do a little bit of everything with nothing. And there are times where, Jordy, I'm gonna get up here and have to testify, no. No, there are times where you may do a culverts one year, you might do a bridge project the next year, it might be 3 years before you're back to a bridge, and then you're doing grading. So again, all those projects require unique safety operations when you're in the field, and those things, and we got young people coming in there. It's one of those things, every day I walk over to the shop at the end of the day and I say to the maintenance staff, superintendent, road superintendent, sometimes Jordy, if he's there, I says, "Did we have a good day?" And they go, "What do you mean?" I says, "Is everybody safe? Did they go home today?" Then the next thing is did we get everything done? But those are things to keep in mind. I thank you for your time. Sorry I didn't have slides or
Visual aids.
visual aids, but hopefully we'll get in front of this and we can keep people here, and I appreciate your time. If anybody has any questions, contact me whenever you need to. Same thing with anybody out here, I'll be standing around. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks,
yep.
All right, that brings us to presentations. Ryan, you were actually at the first two presentations. First as the chair of the Madison County Historical Preservation, and then as the executive director of the Madison County Development Group.
All right.
So make sure you let us know when you're shifting.
Yes, I will. I will do separate handouts. How about that?
Okay.
So I will start with the Historic Preservation Commission. So they have, as chair, they tasked me with writing a letter that outlines some of their concerns about modifications to the courthouse. If stuff. So I'll just read that out loud.
Thank you for doing this, by the way.
No problem. So the Madison County Historic Preservation Commission respectfully urges the Board of Supervisors to exercise caution when considering any modifications to the Madison County Courthouse. Structurally, the building is composed of brick masonry constructed layer upon layer, resulting in nearly all internal walls being load bearing. This creates a situation where nearly all internal walls, this creates a situation where even relatively modest interior changes can be structurally complex and financially burdensome. Alterations to the building's internal layout can have cascading effects on the entire structure and often require substantial reinforcement or reconstruction to maintain stability. The 2017 Courthouse Structures Report is an excellent resource of the current configuration and is meant to guide future structural changes. While we recognize the importance of improving accessibility and functionality within the courthouse, alternative options such as expanding and upgrading the existing annex may prove more practical and cost-effective in the long term while preserving the courthouse's integrity. From a regulatory standpoint, it appears there are no ongoing restrictions tied to past funding sources. The HRDP grants do not impose easement requirements or continuous provisions after project completion, and the 5-year enforcement period associated with the state historic tax credits has expired. Accordingly, there are no outstanding state-level easements or review obligations related to prior preservation funding. That said, the Commission strongly recommends engaging a qualified and bonded architectural consultant before any plans or commitments to the courthouse alterations are made. A consultant experienced in historic structures could help evaluate proposed changes, assess compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, and explore alternatives that meet accessibility goals without compromising historic character. One valuable resource for discussion is the Great Plains ADA Center for Technical Assistance, which offers expertise in accessibility solutions within historic settings, so there's a link there included. Additional technical resources we recommend include the Historic Brief 51, Building Codes for Historic and Existing Buildings, Planning and Maximizing Their Application, there's a link there, and Preservation Brief 32, Making Historic Properties Accessible, there's also a link. We appreciate your attention to these considerations and your ongoing stewardship of Madison County's most valued historic resources. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Can you send this electronically so we have the link?
Yes.
Yes, because the links will be much easier to do
Thank
that.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions before I swap hands?
I do have a question. Is, and I don't know if you can answer this.
Maybe not, because I'm not the perennial expert.
But when I spoke to the ADA state liaison, they said there's no exceptions to historical buildings regarding ADA compliance, and that was concerning to me.
That
So, is there?
My understanding is that'd be contrary to
Yes.
my understanding of it, because the building is of a certain age.
Yes, so I mentioned that to them, I told them the age.
Right.
And they didn't seem to be open to that, so.
So there may be a wires crossed there, so
There
maybe we're
may be.
checking with some of these other resources, see what they say
So,
on
cause if we
it.
can get an exception, cause we have an ADA ramp.
Yeah.
If we get an exception for because according to them, that anywhere where there's public services offered.
Sure.
It needs to be ADA accessible, and we have public services offered in the courthouse, so.
Right.
If we can figure that out, kind of move forward, cause, regardless of whether or not we move people in here, we move veterans in here, that's still.
We still have that ongoing
We
issue.
still have an ongoing issue,
Sure.
so I appreciate all this information that we asked for, thank you very much.
No problem. And swapping hats.
Okay.
Bring two different hats for another visual.
I know, I should.
Right?
Visual
I could
aids,
take
we
the,
make
I could
visual
take
aids.
the vest off. So, looking at, Madison County Development Group, just to give you a quick update, in the past month, so our revolving loan fund is sitting at $80,000. We had a loan buyout, which brought us from $50,000 to $80,000 in our available reserves. That leaves us currently with 6 active loans, 1 rolling off the books in December. It'll be completed in December. We've had discussions with 2 possible local businesses in town, and there's kind of potential of 1 in Earlham as well. All of those would be coming in behind the building acquisition or business transition and doing renovations, so potentially taking a second position on a mortgage, one of those types of situations. So those are all things that we are actively assessing and working toward at the moment. So other possible funding, we continue to have constructive conversations with a local telecom company, and we are assisting, we have assisted with a nearly $50,000 loan for equipment for business near Winterset. That loan has been approved, so we're now just kind of going through the dumb years of the legal back end of that. So on the land that Madison County Development Group owns, we are looking at doing a wetland delineation on that. So there's some discussion internally of the necessity of that or non-necessity of it. And we are kind of working on getting all of that information brought up to speed for the proper list listing, so we can get that site properly off of our books and refocus those resources on other projects. With regards to local site discussions, we continue to work with 2 businesses in and around the Winterset area, looking for potential building sites in the near term. And looking at more of a redevelopment standpoint, we continue to discuss workforce housing tax credits for upstairs downtown housing and historic tax credits for building renovations downtown. And we have updated our inventory of possible infill lots or large splittable lots in town, identifying 44 potential lots. In Earlham, we've had a lot of activity in the last month. So we did, so the industrial site that we have worked to cultivate over the past year and a half, we did submit an RFP, request for proposal there. It's a sizable manufacturing facility. They would make plastic food containers. We will see where that goes. It's
Is it
like,
looking
again,
okay?
it's like modern dating. We haven't heard anything yet,
Okay.
so we're not concerned, but you know, they usually just stop calling, so. We did get compliments on our submission on that from the Des Moines Partnership, so they thought it was a very nice application. So we are, but one of the nice things, whether or not anything comes of this, is we have, cultivated this as kind of a pocket listing, so more of a private listing, and the owners of the property are willing to take a more active and aggressive posture in marketing it. So we have been having conversations with Iowa Interstate Railroad about that site too and how they can assist in that marketing. We've also had some early discussions with partnering with More Fiber that's already doing a build out to at least their build out in the area will go through part of town, but the possibility of a municipal creating a municipal fiber provider for the community. We just completed a fiber study there. It's about $4 million to do an entire build out of town. So we're just looking at options of how can we proceed with that. There's a lot of different ways to cut that pie. So that's just one of them on the table. And we continue to bring a developer and landlord to the table so we can get possible residential housing. The chicken and egg thing there, the city doesn't want to invest in lift station, developer doesn't want to do anything to this lift station. Just trying to get them on the same page. So. And then we continue to monitor a large general business expansion in the area. We have a meeting on that tomorrow, and we continue to work with UNI Leadership Institute on development of a strategic plan. We're also assessing some alternatives for the organization. And then on the community foundation side of things, we have moved disaster funding to CRISP. So if there are people out there who are still suffering from the effects of flooding in Winterset in July or surrounding areas, and they have difficulties with furnaces and things like that, we may have some funds available through CRISP to assist them. And we have set a permanent fund there so that we can more easily in the future react if there is a disaster, so we can just slide the funds over and we have a system set up with them. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Sure.
This was a while ago when you said you were gonna do this. Did you ever get with the city of Earlham to talk about their abatement, their 5-year, 100%?
I've had some informal conversations about that. I would like to maybe do something that looks like maybe some more formal recommendations in terms of what that might
Especially
look like.
since they're considering that.
Yeah, to get into the weeds, they currently have a 5-year, 100% tax abatement, which I think our office needs to do, just to go on the aggressive side of things. So maybe there's ways to stair step it out that would be, easier on them in the long run. We don't want them to get in a situation where there's growth.
Like Adele.
It wouldn't be as bad as Adele, because they have ways to turn
7
off the
year.
flow easier, I say that, but I'm just, but, we have had some discussions and it's still on the radar in terms of iterations back and forth with council over there.
Ryan, have you looked into the CCOG grants for expansion of airports?
I have not.
Yesterday?
Oh, I have not, no, that is.
looked kind of okay.
Yeah, so there's some possibilities there, yeah. I mean, up at the airport, we'd like to see additional hangar space added on to, and, because we do have, we have a private jet provider that, apparently the existing runway works for private jets, as long as you don't fill them full, like you don't run a full tank of gas out of there, you can do the current runway, so. Weight, it's all about weight, so. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, next one is Luke Nelson from Norwalk. He's the city manager, and he's here to present on the current annexation efforts into our county.
Excellent, thank you. I'm gonna let Lindsay introduce herself, she's joining as well.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Offenberger, Director of Internal Operations for the City of Norwalk. Thanks for having us.
So the main topic is to give you an update on what we've been doing with fairly large-scale annexation for Norwalk. Early in the process, we made sure that we wanted to get out to as many different partners and let them know where we're at in the process. So we've been to several surrounding school districts, we've been to Warren County, even Martinsdale, we went to Martinsdale St. Mary, went to their school board, and of course the supervisors here in Madison County were on our list to give you an update. You'll notice from the maps, and I'll let you know right away, this annexation does not go into Madison County.
Okay, good.
So I figured that'd be a question you'd have early on, so I wanted to make sure I clarified that.
And Martinsdale is one. Martinsdale is one county, so none of this goes into Madison.
Correct.
And just so people understand, when you annex in, if is it an 80% say yes, and the other 20% get dragged in kicking and screaming, is that correct? Even if they don't want to?
Yeah, so it's, and it's land area, not population.
Right.
So if you have 80 acres that is ready to go, there's an additional 20 acres that could come in as non-voluntary. But it is still considered a voluntary annexation. In our situation, I love that you guys are cutting right to the nuts and bolts of it, which is good. In our situation, we're probably about 95% of the area. It's approximately 3,000 acres. We had about 95% of the folks that were voluntarily coming into corporate limits.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like on your maps here that you basically are coming up to the line in Madison County?
Correct.
They're coming up to Cumming Line, correct?
No, it looks
County
like
Line Road.
County Line Road.
So County Line Road to the west, the city of Cumming, the first map, and there are some, if anybody in the audience wants to see those, we printed off several copies of these. I'm gonna grab those. I think the extra ones.
Yeah, I see one.
This first map on there, the green dash line is the city of Cumming, and the blue dash line is the city of Norwalk, and then the proposed annexation shows up in orange.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense? And then I believe the way it's labeled on here,
You're going all the way up to Warren County, Warren Road.
right, all the way on the western portion.
Yeah.
Which is just west, it looks like it's about a half a mile west of Interstate 35.
So have you talked to our secondary roads yet, and how to manage one?
Actually, that was interesting. By the way, it's refreshing hearing some of the issues you folks listen to secondary roads, staffing, EMS. It's amazing. We're a metro community. We're facing some of the exact same issues as a county. So it's a little bit refreshing to hear those things. On my schedule, or on my part of the presentation today, was to let you know
that later in this presentation, we're gonna talk about some different transportation corridors. At some point in time, yes, it will be crucial to make contact with secondary roads, so at least they understand what that looks like in the future.
Cause I know with Warren County, we split that county line road, you know, they need to, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. They
That's
need to
correct. Right
partial-
now, currently, we have a 28E agreement with Warren County. All annexations need to come to you. You need to go to the county attorney. They need to hit my desk, so I have a time to prepare and give you a review and figure out how we would manage the system going forward.
And in that case, we're the Warrens the south and we're the north half, is that correct?
That's, yeah, roughly that's what.
So the map.
We've been through this before, so that's.
Okay.
I get more complaints about the south half than I do, so just
The transportation map, it's several pages back, and it's colorful, there's several lines that show up. We hired Snyder and Associates, engineering firm, to come in and go from Highway 28 all the way west out to the interstate and identify several different alternative corridor routes for transportation connection out there to what would be a future interchange on I-35. And there's really only 2 locations that showed up as locations where it could extend and connect into Madison County that secondary roads would want to be aware of. So this is a map they probably want to take a closer look at. But I also want to say, so during our meetings with, we met with every single property owner out in this area. Mayor Phillips and Lindsay handled most of those presentations. Mayor did a great job of summarizing, going through this same presentation. In fact, I'm taking notes from his presentations to give to you today. During those discussions, one of the most common questions we had is, well, how soon before you're all the way out here to the interstate? And at one meeting, it was the first time we had the question, Lindsay's laughing, at the same time, the mayor said 10 years and I said 40 years. So we've been telling people somewhere between 10 and 40 years is how long it would take to get out there.
People are confused.
You know, I don't wanna make light of it, but at the same time, this is development driven. Cities within the state of Iowa do not have an ability to set up urban service boundaries where we can have more management or control in an area that we're gonna serve with utilities. We're spending $10 million on a sanitary sewer to run about 1.5 miles that's along the southern location of Norwalk. The size of that pipe is large enough for me to stand up in it. And it will serve an area that goes all the way out to Interstate 35. And at the interstate, that's half of the service area for that sewer pipe. So this is a very long-term vision of what future growth looks like. Even though it takes a long time to get there, if we're gonna make that kind of investment with our customers' revenues, we need to make sure that we're showing them that we have a long outlook on what that future looks like. So when I say 40 years, it could be closer to the mayor's estimate of 10 years if all of a sudden there's some massive development that happens out near the interstate. We have no reason to think that's gonna happen, even though people might have heard about Buc-ee's and our mayor trying to go out there and appeal Buc-ee's to coming up and anyway.
I don't think he's the only one.
what's the total acres of this annex?
About 3,000.
3,000, how much of it is ag land?
All of it except, when you say ag land, you mean under crop production?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna guess maybe about 70% of it is crop production land. Keep in mind, the topography in this area as you get close to North River is quite challenging. Talking more
As
terrace
far as-
type farming, there's several locations where there's public land ownership, because it's close to that corridor. There's a lot of floodplain. There's a lot of other, we'd be happy to send you like a full presentation we did with the City Development Board that shows some of those things. Yeah, as far as homes, I think we had 2 residential homes within this entire 3,000 acres. So we tried to steer clear. In fact, I was talking about that urban service boundary. Even though cities can't adopt that and use that to manage that future growth, what cities can do is pursue annexation. And then that locks in what that future growth looks like so we can manage that appropriately.
So when do you plan on doing this annexation, or is this something you're gonna do in phases?
Actually, you wanna give them an update on where we're at?
Sure. So we've already gotten approval through the city development board at the state level, but it was appealed by one landowner, which took up about 5% of the total area. So as we mentioned earlier, we were 95% voluntary. People had signed voluntary annexation agreements, the one landowner did not. And he appealed the board's decision at the Warren County District Court level, and that was in late July, I believe that hearing was, and we're still awaiting their decision.
You
The Warren
know,
County.
he'll lose though, he'll get dragged into the dark, won't he?
It's my understanding he can appeal at a higher court level even if Warren County says that they agree with the city, so.
Is he situated in where he'd create an island, or is he kind of on the outskirts where he could be?
I'm gonna let you talk to that islander.
Yeah, his land would not create an island, however, without his land, the narrow strip of land that would continue west becomes a problem. That was part of the, discussion with the city development board. I see Lindsay just turned the page. This one shows, the different property owners, and in the legend, it identifies if they were, non-consenting, properties in opposition, so there was some outside the annexation areas that also filed some concern over the annexation. So we've been trying to relay to folks that it's not just, even though we've had a majority of the people within the area that are on board and want to see this happen, there are some folks that are disagreeable. One of the other things that has come up, I don't know that we have a map showing this, since we've pursued this annexation, several adjacent property owners have now come back to the city asking us to also include their land in a next step annexation. So certainly there's a fair number of folks that don't want to be a part of the annexation, but there's also those folks that see the value. When land is annexed into a city, at least around Norwalk, that is also linked to how soon somebody would have access to a water and sanitary sewer system, as well as those transportation corridors. Some people see that as an investment. If you bought land out there not as an investment, just to be there, have a different type of situation other than growth, your viewpoints are gonna be different. Let me see if there's any other, you guys hit on all kinds of key points there. I do want to point out some of the early maps here show our past land use plan. This is the one that has a large yellow arrow in it. So this is showing the city's comprehensive plan, so how we had planned to grow from our 2016 plan. And then the next page shows our updated land use plan. So it just kind of gives some perspective of how the city has taken a further outlook on what expansion looks like and making it critically known that access to that interstate is crucial.
So do you think development would be accelerated once you annex, or do you think development's already going on and this is just keeping up with it?
That's a good question. We do have one private company that is looking at about 300 acres for development soon. And that is close, almost adjacent to our existing corporate limits. So it's way off towards the east, close to Highway 28. So in that particular location, but they already front on Delaware Street. So that's the most immediate development that we've heard of. Further west than that, we have not had any further discussions about expanding development.
So once this, if it goes through, pending the litigation, the new boundary line in Norwalk will be right alongside Madison County line.
Correct.
So that means your 2-mile influence on our ordinances would come into play. We would have to come to you to make sure you approve any kind of development on the Madison County side, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
One key thing to keep in mind, so a 2-mile extraterritorial boundary control is related to subdivision standards. And subdivision standards have to be based upon a city's comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan does not show anything going into Madison County. So the best way to explain that is it's not contemplated at this point in time continuing further west. So a city stepping in and exercising that authority in an area that our comprehensive plan doesn't cover, it'd be an easy argument for somebody to say, well, you really shouldn't be reviewing those plans if your comprehensive plan doesn't even contemplate that.
Well, like Dallas has done in the northern part.
I don't know about their situation. Now, I was going to follow up and say, those are some editorial comments. And those are probably more of my opinion with some of my land use planning background than what may actually happen with some cities when they have the opportunity to review.
We just I wanted to understand the impact on our Madison County residents for that area, since you're going right up to the county line.
You know, that's, you know, really that's a bulk of the conversations we even had with some of the adjacent property owners. I can understand somebody's concern when they see this massive amount of annexation. Our community has been growing. We're not growing at a pace like a Waukee or Grimes. We have more of a slow pace of growth, but for us it's been very methodical. Again, the people that live outside corporate limits, many times they're there for a reason. We want to respect that and honor it, but at the same time, we want to share with them that if the city's not planning appropriately for future growth, it's going to happen anyway, and then it's unplanned and it is not pretty at that point.
Now, I know we kind of messed up the presentation.
No, that was.
So I apologize for that. Is there other stuff you want to talk about?
No, actually having a conversation is much easier.
Can we get this electronically?
Absolutely. In fact, I think it'd probably be a good idea just to send them the full presentation that we did with the City Development Board. There's a few additional slides in there. It might even answer some of the other questions that you brought up.
Would you also send it to our zoning administrator as well, Ryan? Would you like a copy of this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the information.
Excellent.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Okay, that leaves Marcia. You are up.
Good morning.
It is still morning, right?
Yes. Marcia Hendricks, CEO of Madison County Healthcare System. On September 16th, you held a special meeting of this board in which one of the agenda items was hospital transfers, presented by Brady Foreman, Madison County EMS Director. On behalf of Madison County Healthcare System's Board of Trustees, I'm here today to respond to and clarify some of the information shared and statements made by Mr. Foreman and Supervisor Stancil. Mr. Foreman stated that the average number of hospital transports annually is 280. However, according to our records, in this past fiscal year, Madison County Ambulance transported a total of 200 patients. In this current fiscal year, we're on track for a few less than last year. All but 31 of those 200 transports were being transferred to a higher level of care after stabilization. The 31 who were transferred to a nursing home or hospice care were patients who were bedridden. Mr. Foreman also stated that Madison County Ambulance is losing approximately $198,000 annually on hospital transports. This calculation is coming from a Medicaid cost report. These cost reports include all costs fixed, such as building expenses, depreciation, etc., and variable cost, and are designed to help keep healthcare organizations from losing so much money on traditional Medicaid. His calculation used the 280 transports, which is a 5-year average from previous years and this year's cost, which, if you think about that, this year's cost is obviously up because the volume is down. So according to Brady, their average reimbursement for a transport is $896. In the special board meeting, both Brady and Supervisor Stancil stated that Madison County Hospital is a for-profit hospital and referenced our affiliation with Mercy One as a reason that they believe this to be true. Supervisor Stancil proceeded to suggest that Madison County Hospital should own their own transport service. I want to clarify for the record that Madison County Memorial Hospital is, and has been for all of our 75 years, a nonprofit county hospital. Our affiliation with Mercy One is an affiliation agreement that is required in order for us to be a critical access hospital, which is a designation from the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is in essence a reimbursement methodology designed and developed by the federal government several years ago to keep rural hospitals alive. We do not share financials with Mercy One, nor do they have a vote on their board, and incidentally, they too are nonprofit hospital.
On September 29th, Jackie Moser, board chair, Kim Hulbert, our chief clinical officer, and I met with Brady, Foreman, and Diane Fitch to assess and to discuss this subject and any possible solutions to help us get patients transported to a higher level of care when needed. Brady stated at that point that the average annual loss is closer to 124,000. He also stated that the biggest issue he has is that they are continually short-staffed, creating the number one reason that they're often very unavailable to transport from the hospital. Our recent research would indicate that you are paying paramedics and EMTs well under market. The other conversation that has come up in both the special board meeting and our September 29th meeting is that Madison County EMS is a 911 service for their licensure. What this means is that minimally they have to staff one unit with a paramedic and an EMT. This doesn't mean that as a county service, they should not be providing transport services as possible. Now, I want to make a note at this point, based on the gentleman in the back's comment, that yes, transport services do take a second seat to 911 service for sure. We've always known that, and that's always been the case, that we wouldn't leave the county without a 911 rig in place. So that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about that second rig or the third rig, whatever they have staffed to do our transport services, and that's not something new. Our hospital licensure as a critical access hospital does not include any sort of emergency or medical transport as a requirement. In fact, it would be considered a non-allowable cost on our cost reports and would significantly reduce our inpatient and outpatient reimbursement for the hospital. So in closing, I would just like to say that for decades, we've all worked together really well in this county. You know, I've stood beside EMS providers in the ER time after time. We were all one big happy family, if you will. We were here to take care of our patients. This has only changed just in recent years with some changes in the philosophy. And I'm just here to ask that you please understand, first of all, to clarify statements made, and secondly, to understand that we want to work together for a solution here. We're very willing as a hospital, if you would like to do a board appointed committee perhaps, to take a look at this situation. Very willing to participate that and help in any way we can. I think we just are very interested in being sure that we get our patients to the right place at the right time. And I think our EMS providers want the same thing. But quite frankly, they are understaffed so much of the time that they cannot do transports for us. And so we're calling other places outside the county, from Des Moines to come out. And they're willing to do it. They bill for the service. They seem to be very happy with the reimbursement that they get for the services. But it delays patient care. And the answer can't be helicopter, which I've heard a few times, because number one, helicopter's not always available. Number two, the weather is not always correct. Number three, it's an incredibly expensive service, and patients could get stuck with that cost if it's not appropriate. So I'm just asking that we talk about getting together and making this make sense. We shouldn't be duplicating services in this county and then burdening taxpayers more.
Do you want us to meet with you again?
I think we need a full committee of people that can really look at everything going on with the ambulance staff, to understand what where their losses are coming from, why that's happening, and really what the whole situation is.
So is there, and I apologize, I was going by information I was told, so I apologize for that. But it seems like we have some discrepancies in information and data and costs and all that kind of stuff. Is there a way we can kind of nail that down? Because as we mentioned earlier, you know, Winterset is our county seat. It's the biggest city in our county, and they do not have a city ambulance. And normally in bigger cities, they have their own ambulance, but they don't. So our county ambulance covers a lot of that territory where a normal city ambulance would have. So, and we can't, as a county, can't continue to subsidize everything because we're short-staffed. It costs money, puts more burden on the taxpayers. So I would like to figure out a solution that's amenable to everybody and solves the issue, and patients get their care. So, but first of all, we need accurate data in order to make that decision. So if we agree, I think you're right, Diane, we should probably meet a few more times to kind of narrow it down, so we can get all that information and we can move forward with, so every single person has the same knowledge, which I don't know if you have suggestions of who you think should be on something like that?
I think we could talk about that. I think there's be some interested parties, but there has to be a full opening of the financials of the ambulance, et cetera, so we really can dig down and figure out what's really happening.
Yeah,
What needs to happen.
I'm open to that as long as there's no, it's all, the patient information obviously is not sure. But from the cost perspective, I think that would be good, kind of dig in, because I know Brady's cleaning up from previous years' concerns regarding that. So he may not have full knowledge either. So I think this is a good starting point to do that. And I appreciate you coming out here to give that clarification, because we do want to work together. So Diane, would you be willing to kind of?
Yeah, we need to go back to our big happy family, because I've worked for both. I worked for the ambulance and.
So
There's a lot of good people trying to do this work.
It
and we need to
is
do
on
right.
every side, it
So
really is. We are understaffed, we are underpaid.
understaffed, and that's been an ongoing issue, unfortunately. But I'm a little concerned about the discrepancy in costs going from what was presented to the board to, what
Might be
was in
different
review.
timeframes.
Could be different timeframes, yeah, so, but I think we need to nail down the actual cost for transport, or however the terms are properly deemed, so we know the actual costs, so then we can start from the same plane. So Diane, if you're okay putting,
If you come,
are you okay
we'll
with her?
get together and you can tell me what you want the committee to look like and we'll make
And
it
we can put people together, numbers people,
Well, we can.
elected folks from your team, folks from their team, and just kind of figure it out. So, because budget time is coming up, and we are gonna have to make some decisions regarding salaries. I know our secondary roads engineer has expressed some concerns about staffing. Our EMS director has expressed concern about staffing. So those are things that we're gonna have to decide as a board. So the more information we have, the better decisions we can make.
Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll fix it.
Okay.
I'll actually email you a copy of the.
Thank you. Yes, that'd be great. Okay, we are now up for our public comments. I ask that folks that are coming up to comment, please do not shout from back. Come on up here and let's see your wonderful face and give your name and your city, and you will have 3 minutes. Sir, you already spoke, but you didn't.
What?
We'll give you first dibs.
Hello, my name's Doug Jurgens from Winterset, Iowa. My concern was just that we've had some people in the public talking, not understanding why transports weren't available. And I just thought if the board or the ambulance or somebody could put out a public statement. I asked one of the ambulance personnel, and he explained it very easily, that they have to keep one, because of the 911, they have to keep the paramedic on duty here. So if that can be explained to the public, that might help the public understand why their transports are not available at certain times.
And sir, your name and city, I didn't catch it.
It's
Doug
Doug Jurgens.
Doug
Jurgens, Winterset, Iowa.
That's a great idea.
It's just something to let the people know, because there's the gossip going on that some people think, well, no, they can't do any transports anymore. They need to know why that transports are not available at certain times, and it's because of the staffing, it sounds like. So that was all I was bringing up, was to say that.
Okay.
The other comment I would have, would be from yesterday's meeting that was shown online. The comment I had made on this, was, let me pull this up real quick. My thoughts were, if somebody if the supervisor wanted to go into a closed session, and there's rules for the closed session, that they need to be recorded, and there need to be minutes taken and stuff. If those people if you don't want those people in there for those meetings, for the closed session, then why would the county be paying for something when if there's litigation involved and the county attorney's not even aware of it? Why should the county be paying for something when that can't be explained on what's in there? If the rules and regulations for a closed meeting can't be followed, why would the county be paying for that? Because it seems to the public that this is a personal issue for YouTube. And if the county you can't follow the rules for the closed session meeting, maybe that should be paid for by YouTube, by yourself, if that's a personal issue. Because it sure looks like it's a personal issue and not a county issue. That's my take. Thank you.
Vicky Brenner, Winterset, Iowa. Madison County taxpayers expect our elected officials to follow the law. Yet the events I witnessed at the Monday, October 27th BOS meeting suggest two supervisors may not agree. At that meeting, Supervisors Hobbs and Stancil implied the closed meeting had been called for the benefit of Supervisor Fitch. Fitch quickly set the record straight. Her concern: more than $8,000 has been spent for outside counsel that she has no information about, or very little. Both Fitch and County Attorney Swanson have been kept in the dark, while Hobbs and Stancil admitted to communicating directly with outside counsel Michael Bowl, Baylor McCormick. When questioned, Hobbs and Stancil refused to reveal what those communications involved, claiming attorney-client privilege. I would like to remind all that Swanson and Fitch are entitled to be informed of pending or actual litigation involving the county according to Iowa code. Taxpayers of Madison County should be alarmed. Supervisors are not authorized to independently communicate with legal counsel without the full board or coordination through the county attorney. Bypassing this invites ethical conflicts, breaches confidentiality, and violates Iowa code. These actions undermine public trust. It's not just the money, but the disregard for lawful procedure. Taxpayers have a right to know what their money is funding and what decisions are being made behind closed doors. Two supervisors are no longer working for the people of Madison County. The pattern of backdoor dealings and disregard for legal and public process shows an alarming shift away from serving taxpayers towards self-serving motives, and it has to stop. Madison County deserves leaders who put transparency, accountability, and the public good above personal gain. The actions of Stancil and Hobbs raise serious questions about possible open meetings violations, misuse of public funds, and a blatant disregard for the duties they swore to uphold. Madison County taxpayers have every right to demand accountability when elected leaders operate outside the law and against the interests of the people. I think it's time for Madison County taxpayers to consider pursuing remedies under Chapter 66 for removal from office for malfeasance and violating open meeting laws. The integrity of our Madison County government depends on standing up to misconduct before it becomes the norm. I respectfully ask that you receive and file my comments.
Motion to receive and file. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Who would like to speak next?
Judy Neil, Earlham. How are we saving money when paying for outside counsel in addition to paying for outside audits? There have been more closed sessions recently than we have ever had in the past. Is this transparency?
Good morning. McDonald, Winterset. I rise today to remind all of us of a fundamental principle that should guide our conduct as duly elected officials. You were each chosen by your constituents to represent their interests and serve this community. While we may disagree, sometimes strongly, on policy, process, or priorities, you must remember that you are colleagues united in service to the same public. Civility is not weakness. Respectful discourse is not surrender. When we use disparaging language, words like appease to characterize a colleague's good faith efforts at compromise, or calling someone a liar, or other terms that question motives rather than address merits, we diminish not only each other, but the institutions we represent. Every person at that table has earned their seat. Every voice deserves to be heard without dismissive or inflammatory language. We can debate vigorously, challenge ideas passionately, and vote our conscience, all without attacking the character or integrity of those who see things differently. Our words matter. They set the tone for public discourse in our community. When we engage respectfully, we build trust. When we resort to personal attacks, we erode the very foundation of democratic governance. I asked that we recommit ourselves to addressing the issues, not attacking the individuals, to disagreeing without being disagreeable, to modeling for our community the kind of respectful dialogue we hope to see in our own neighborhoods and homes. The people watching deserve better than political theater. They deserve officials who can work together even when they don't see eye to eye. Let's honor that responsibility. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak in here? Otherwise, I will go to the phone.
Hello, Steve Swanson, Winterset. 2 weeks ago, I asked for a list of all pending or potential litigation that was billed for the Board of Supervisors by Ryan McCormick. I received an email response from Ms. Stancil that just said it was about the federal lawsuit she filed against 4 county employees, and she was talking to them about that. One thing that was left out was something I have to go into story time with Uncle Steve now. Back in December of last year, I was approached by Ms. Stancil's Minister of Propaganda, Leslie Beck, about creating a give, send, go for her husband, Rex Stancil. I agreed with that, even though it's against the rules, based on the fact that it would be an open list, that everyone could examine the list to make sure there was no conflicts with Ms. Stancil on that list when she was voting for things as a member of the board. It constitutes a gift. Can't get a gift more than $3, etc. Fast forward, I've been asking for the list. The list was all kept confidential. Been asking for the list since December, haven't gotten it. I started asking for the list again. I was told that I could not receive the list, it's confidential, whatever. One thing that was not listed in that potential of pending litigation, I received an email from Mike Bowles, or Bowl, about the list, give, send, go list. That was apparently paid for by the county for Heather to have that email written by.
I asked if I have to submit it as an open records request, that is.
There was never anything about the open records in my request. I never actually contacted you. I contacted Leslie, and then your husband jumped in on me. But either way, well, we're talking about it. So either way, I have still not received anything about potential. Was that some of the pending or potential litigation that was listed in those bills? Because the email from them lines up exactly with one of the bill entries for pending or potential litigation. So it's kind of weird that you are potentially being investigated criminally and the board's attorney is being paid by the county to write me emails about how I don't have the right to investigate you criminally. Seems like an issue. And I'd like some clarification on how your give, send, go list that you had in a personal capacity is a board matter in any way, shape, or form, or more to the point, how your personal lawsuit that you were filed in a personal capacity against 4 county employees has anything to do with the Board of Supervisors or pending or potential litigation.
That was gonna be discussed at our closed meeting, Steve, which you interrupted.
That I have a right to be at.
You do not have a right to be.
I have a right to be at any meeting that involves potential.
The Board of Supervisors decide who's gonna be at our meeting. There are other remedies, if you disagree, there's other remedies you can take that you could put in process.
That's not how it works. You have this misunderstanding that supervisors means you're in charge of the county. You are not in charge of the county. You're in charge of budgeting for the county.
We are in charge of our meetings, Steve, and your time is up. I ask you to sit down.
That's fine, no answers then. So I get no answers? Okay. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, the phone is still open?
Yes, it is.
Rachel Terhaar, 2046 Adair, Madison Avenue. I've been hearing discussions and comments about staffing, issues, underpaid salaries, et cetera. And the money has to come from somewhere, and I think we all know that. We all have to balance our own budget for our personal lifestyle. So I just wanna applaud our board. I really do. I think it's important that we applaud you, for searching for lots of ways to mitigate the issues with the county budget. The Republican platform has always stood for being conservative, and that means we conserve. That means we look for ways to be resourceful and to not expect a resident to have to be continually extorted to be able to account for misspending and wrong decision-making. So I do, I know that you guys have a big job. It's fiscally challenging to continue to be responsible, and I want to applaud the integrity of Supervisors Hobbs and Stancil. Rather than what some here have accused and suggested, I do appreciate your convictions to perform your duty to the public, actually fulfilling your campaign promises, and to press on. Just want to encourage you, press on in making a way for our children, and now we can say our grandchildren, as my husband and I have had our first one that is in this county, to be able to afford to live and to thrive here in Madison County, and to just press on despite all these personal and relentless attacks that keep occurring. God bless.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, for those on the phone, if you,
Kris.
there's something, sorry. We'll be to you in a minute.
Kris Jordan, Peru. I'd like to remind you that all of you represent all Madison County residents, not just the ones in your own district. Just as when I was mayor, I represented all citizens of Peru, not just the ones that I agreed with. At the last meeting, you were talking about the opioid board. And I was disappointed when Supervisor Stancil, when you had 2 more names from Earlham, because you wanted the Earlham schools to be taken care of. I want to remind you that your district is all of the western side of Madison County and Maxburg area, and the area across, including Walnut Township, which is Peru, and Ohio, which is Terhaar area. I don't ever really hear much spoken in terms of, like when it came to that board, I didn't hear the Interstate 35 students mentioned, that they needed to have representation. The students from Peru go to Winterset, the Maxburg students and the western area, well, they pretty much go to Winterset, but I think that instead of always kind of taking care of our home area, we need to make certain we're representing everybody in the county and in our area.
Kris, you may not know this, but we didn't have anybody apply from anywhere else. Those applications were Winterset, 3 Winterset folks and 2 Earlham folks to apply for that opioid task force. We already had representation on the task force from Winterset and from Interstate 35. We had 2 people from St. Charles, though one of them has told us today that she's going off the board. So we did have representation from all 3 districts. We just didn't have any from my district at all. So that's why I was advocating for the Earlham applicants over some of the Winterset applicants, because I wanted representation from my school district when there wasn't any at all on that board. So I don't think you knew that, so I just wanted to clarify that.
I just hear Earlham a lot, and I don't hear many people in the southern part of Madison County feeling like they're as represented as they should be.
Kris,
you realize that.
When we picked, we asked for DHS, which serves the whole county. We asked for, a court liaison, juvenile court liaison, who serves the whole county. Our goal on the task force was to pick people who
really cleaned up the blood, who really know what they're doing, who work in the school systems. We didn't care where they were from. They represent everyone, and everyone on the task force, the sheriff represents everybody.
I was just wanting someone from my district,
who
this whole program is serving our children. I wanted someone from my district in there, Diane. I don't think that's a wrong ask.
I think we
So,
represent all of the
I'm
schools.
not
We have all
discounting
three
that.
schools together.
But those people don't go to Earlham, and there's unique perspectives out of that district that I wanted represented. So we have someone on there now, so I'm glad that we do. But your concern is noted. I just wanted to clarify that there were people, there just wasn't any Earlham at the time.
I understand what you're saying, but I think what the people in southern Madison County are hearing is, we hear a lot in my district in Earlham, what you just restated again. And I understand your feelings, but I think maybe you need to understand that the southern part of the county is feeling very underrepresented right now.
Could you encourage folks to apply for these boards? We don't get a lot of folks from Earlham or Peru or Truro to apply. Most of them, to be honest with you, most of the applicants we get are from Winterset. And maybe that could be because no one wants to drive into Winterset for the meetings, I don't know. But we don't get a lot of applicants from those regions, and that's, we have a pool to pick from, and we can only pick from those. So had folks from Peru or Truro applied, I'm sure those would have been considered, and I would have advocated for that. So could you help encourage folks to apply? Because we would love to have folks serve. You know more people in Peru than I do.
Go visit, we have a preacher, so for every second Friday, come on.
All right, thank you. If there's no one else, we'll go ahead and take folks from the phones that wish to speak. Anyone in the room? Okay. All right, if you are on the phone and wish to speak during public comment, please remember to hit *6 to unmute your phone. And then just say your name and the city, and just know there's about a 5-second delay on the call, so just FYI. All right, if there's no further public comment, we'll go ahead and move on to resolutions for board consideration. Looks like we only have 2 today. The first one is approving the sale of the public health building via auction. There was a correction requested on that, so that's been made. I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second? I will second that. Any discussion?
I don't think it should be sold. I think we should keep it. We're a growing community. We could never afford to rebuild this. It would be $3 million just to start,
So you think we should have a vacant building and just hold on?
I think we should do a lease. I think we could, I think this is a risky
I
business.
don't wanna be a landlord.
Okay, I know you don't, so, okay, council, take the vote.
So,
Yeah, I can't justify in my head why we would have a building with, what'd you say, how many square foot, Diane, is that building?
I just rounded it. I don't know,
it's
top and bottom.
4,600 on the first floor
On
and
seven- I did
4,600
about
on.
7.
For 1.5 employees, I can't reconcile that logic in my head, especially when we have so much space available in our existing buildings here at courthouse, so.
Yeah. So, any further discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the question. All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. I know that's not gonna happen right away, because we have to move a bunch of stuff out of there. Susan did a great job cleaning up a lot of the basement, so I know when I toured it before she left, I pointed out all the IT equipment that needed to come back into our, here in the courthouse for security. So, and I know they worked on that, so, but there's still a lot left. So if there's any staff or employees that need paper, any kind of office equipment, there's a bunch at the public health
There is
building.
great shelving in the basement, Brady, really good
So
shelving.
please go.
Lots of backboards, you
We
might.
would love to have you help us move stuff out. So, because we're gonna need to do that first, and then we'll have to decide on where we're gonna move Thaddeus and Joan, to which building, more than likely over here, so we'll have further discussion. So this is not gonna happen quickly.
Yeah, are we thinking a work session to go through those details, or?
I think we should have a work session to go through that. And then, if Kylie's okay with us borrowing your new employee,
Probably not right now, sorry.
okay,
Not right now.
for that meeting, okay. So we'll have to do that, and then we'll probably have Thaddeus and stuff come and figure out where the best place is, so, on that. And our ADA meeting, I don't know if I told you last meeting, they're coming out on the 2nd and the 3rd to do an ADA evaluation, December 2nd and the 3rd, to do an ADA evaluation. I wasn't put that on my report, so I thought I'd put it now. Okay, moving on to the next resolution. That is approving the weed commissioners, annual weed commissioners report for 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Other business, we have, board member reports. Who would like to start? Okay. Jess.
So we made, we're making some progress with the safety committee. We did meet with all of the department heads, and got the bigger, committee formed. We have, Deputy Kenny is going to be leading some active shooter training for all county employees. We're gonna have a couple of different sessions. You'll be seeing some information coming out on that soon. We will be rolling out monthly training, of a safety nature. We are trying to be sensitive of, the different needs for the different departments. For example, roads and the roads crew, they've got a good system that they're using, that they're utilizing now, that we don't want to impede that progress. We want to continue to support that, but we certainly want, their perspective, on the committee itself as we roll this out. We will have, as I mentioned earlier, we will have future, employee-wide, county-wide training, and CPR is at the top of the list, and engaging Brady on that, and doing formal training for our employees so they can utilize that. So there'll be more to come on that. We did have a decategorization meeting at Wildwood Hills. I want to take a second just to tout Wildwood Hills and the tremendous work that they're doing. Working with so many young people, and I didn't realize before we had this meeting at the site that they have an equine program for veterans as well. Thaddeus is aware of that. He has referred some veterans there, but you can also rent their facilities for your family privately. And they've got really great cabins, and the proceeds go to help support that program. I was very
Church had a retreat there this past weekend.
yeah, it's a fabulous location. They are struggling with staffing challenges as well. They've got basically one full-time facility guy for a lot of buildings. So I just encourage the community to get involved with their cause and their initiatives and support them however we can. The decategorization committee, there's some unknowns coming up in regarding future funding options and what that will look like. Right now, we're on target with the budget for that committee.
Can you explain to the public what that is?
Basically, it's a way to bridge all the resources for the underserved and what resources are available, so that they can work together to find the right fit. If there's not a resource here with this entity, we have a resource over here to help you. And so it's a bridging of bringing that together and have, in essence, a central hub that's knowledgeable of the communities and the community needs. But there's a lot of uncertainty with upcoming funding, what this will look like, what's going to be taken over and managed by other entities. So there will be more to come on that. I do want to reference the meeting yesterday. I know there's anyone who's dealt with legal matters knows that the attorneys dictate what you can and cannot talk about publicly. And to my knowledge, there's no litigation happening that our county attorney isn't aware of. This board elected to have representation from Bellin and McCormick, and that is what we've done. I'm gonna continue to try to share the truth, the information as I have it, and I'll continue to do that. My opinion is that this is a small, price to pay to protect this county from any further litigation and any issues. I typically have office hours on Friday. I have a conflict this Friday, I won't be there, but I'm readily available all this week and usually on the weekends. So I encourage anybody who has questions to reach out to me, contact me directly if you have concerns. I'm available.
I attended open meetings training that's required by the state now. Historic preservation, I held the ISAC open house, we had ISAC here, aging resources, and I am working with, I did a lot because I live rural and I live on the Piru St. Charles Drill site, and I'm getting a lot of fencing issues. Iowa fencing laws have not been changed since 1851. They remain about the same before we were even a territory, we were a territory. With all the urbanization and all the growth in rural areas, it is a real issue. This state still has 3-strand barb. Well, if you wean calves and you put a bunch of baby calves, a 3-strand barb does not keep them in. So, I wrote to Amy yesterday and they've really jumped on this. So I think we might see some changes in fencing laws. And I've reached out to quite a few of the farmers. People just do not, and realtors do not share, and I wish they would, but we have a right-hand rule in Iowa, and we really need to maintain that. Really, we're supposed to even keep our fences clean from tree, and because you let trees grow in, then you know what happens, the fence breaks and they get through, but, so I think maybe we'll make some headway on kind of updating some fencing laws.
All right, I had a Madison County Development, Group meeting. We had an ISAC meeting, here where they came to visit. Thank you, Diane, for providing all that food, that was yummy. I also went to my first, swine barn expansion, tour, which was interesting, I'd never done that. For an expansion for a swine barn in our county. That was, very informative, so I'm grateful to all the folks that were there to give me information. And then I wanted to just briefly address, some of the comments here. Unfortunately, regarding our closed meeting, there's a lot of misinformation going around. To spin off on what Jess said, between legal counsels, there's not stuff we can disclose. So we just can't, and our county attorney knows that as well. So, we try to have a closed session to inform the entire board of what's going on. And, the only litigation going on is what, our county attorney already knows about. And the potential litigation is what, we may be discussing. So unfortunately, we want to discuss that as a board with the board council that we approved on.
By the way, I have to be informed
You
of
are-
any
you are-
potential
you are out
litigation.
of
I don't
order.
really care whether
You
you're
are
talking
out of
about
order.
me.
You are
Your
out of
rules of
order.
order say if you talk about me, I can respond. You said the county attorney
I'm
twice.
not done talking. You are
I
out
don't
of
really
order.
care. You keep saying stuff about me.
You are out of order.
I don't care. You're
So-
incorrect
so
and you're spreading misinformation as
According
usual.
to Iowa Code 21.5, the governmental body in a closed session can choose who we want in there, and all we need to do is have someone collect the minutes and recording, which our board of supervisor attorney was planning on doing. He had someone there to do that. So had something come up that we would need to inform the county attorney, we would have done so. But we wanted to have the freedom to also inform the other board member as to what the work product was. So we tried to do that, and unfortunately, we were prevented from doing so. So, I would like to have, I would like to have another closed session, so we can update what's going on and our discussions with our council, which you are not our council.
I will be there because I am the counsel for the county, Heather.
You are not.
I am the
board
attorney.
counsel.
I need to know of all potential and pending litigation. If there's
Steve,
potential and pending litigation, I am a part of the meeting.
I already told you we wouldn't inform you.
I don't care what you think. this is what the law is.
That is not the law.
That is the law, Heather. Challenge me on it then.
Our attorney disagreed with you.
I don't care what your attorney says, he's not my boss, so I don't
we can
really care what he
continue
has
to
to
just have
say.
independent conversation, have more legal costs because we aren't consolidating that communication with outside counsel. I guess we'll have an independent meeting and continue to do that.
I don't wanna do that, I wanna keep everybody
He
informed.
refused to have an independent
So-
conversation with Diane.
so
That's what caused this whole
we
meeting.
can't have it.
Diane requested information from him, he refused to give it to her, so you decided to have this meeting
He said
with Diane.
that's
He
not
can
what
give the
said.
information to Diane.
Steve.
I won't be a part of that.
Please, that's not what he said.
That's exactly what you
That's
said,
not
what he said. Sorry, same
So-
thing.
so-
I get confused sometimes.
So let's wrap this.
So
be civil.
I would like to have, I still would like to have a meeting, a closed session meeting with the board council, with all of us, so we can talk about whatever it is you wanna know, and so to your point, so we're not duplicating efforts, so we're not asking the same questions to our attorney and adding cost. So I think that's inefficient. And also to the matter regarding me using him as personal counsel, that's just dumb. Why in the world, I already have an attorney, why in the world would I put anything at risk by engaging?
Why have I not gotten any emails from
So-
your attorney? I'm getting
so-
them from the board's attorney
So
about
that's-
personal matters
So I
that
wanna
affect
put
you.
it, please stop interrupting, Steve. Please stop
You
interrupting.
keep addressing me.
I'm not addressing you.
Yes, you are.
Let's end this.
That's-
You're not gonna get
This needs to get
anywhere.
out because I'm tired of misinformation, Diane. People are saying I'm
That's
using
Brady.
our board supervisor council for personal use, and that is not true.
We don't
It
know
would
that.
be, it would not only be dumb because it could affect my case, but it would also be a ethical violation from that attorney. So it's not happening. I wanted to have a meeting with you so we could talk about that. But there's rumors that continue to happen, perpetuated by our county attorney. So I would like to have a core group, which is the supervisors and our attorney, so we can air it out, so you have a level of comfort of what we're doing. You have a
Did it
right
be
to
behind
that.
her
You have a
back?
right
Why
to
didn't
that.
she know it to
Please
start
stop
with?
interrupting. This
Quit
isn't.
lying.
Please stop.
Okay, you can only have a closed
I would
session to
like
discuss
to-
Warning, this
potential
is
or
the
pending
warning
litigation.
for decorum. This is the one warning for
Jess, you
decorum.
are always out of decorum, so I don't really let things get taken from you.
Steve, if you continue.
not your meeting,
if
Steve.
If you continue, I'm gonna ask to have you removed.
Okay.
Please stop.
Then stop
What do you
talking about
want?
me.
So let's just
I
finish
would,
this up.
I would like to schedule a meeting so we can inform the whole board of what we're discussing with council. And I would like to do that so you have a comfort, because you requested that information. And I'd like to do that still, Diane. So can we schedule it? Do you want to schedule a closed meeting with council?
No.
You do
I
not.
know. Why do you have outside counsel?
We've already talked about that.
No,
So-
I don't know.
So you don't wanna know, the only way we can share things about that is, we've had multiple closed sessions with multiple different outside councils over the 4 years I've been here. And you haven't had issues with that.
No,
I've had
now-
an issue with this.
Okay, I'm done. Let's just move on.
So then I will ask that you stop saying you don't know, because we've given you opportunities to know.
It's illegal.
So please, it is not illegal. Please stop spreading that misinformation.
Did she have her attorney
Please.
present at that meeting?
Please stop. Please stop.
You're
So-
violating closed meeting or?
Why don't the taxpayers get to know?
Can you please mute?
We're paying for it.
So we've employed multiple different outside counsels in the past. We have not disclosed anything to taxpayers about any of those conversations. I don't see why we would automatically start doing this now, unless there is a personal reason you wanna do this.
So I have been
So-
there in all
so
those meetings
Steve,
though, by the way, and so
please
has
leave.
the auditor.
The auditor, can you please leave?
I'm
You
interjecting
continue-
because
you
you're
continue to
spreading
interrupt.
misinformation.
You continue to interrupt and
You are continuing to spread
You're
misinformation.
spreading misinformation.
What misinformation am I
Please,
spreading?
Can you please escort him out? If there's no further, talk about reports, we'll move on to old business.
Well, I have a point of clarification. Diane accused me of violating open meeting laws on an email chain that I was trying to coordinate this closed session. This is a ministerial matter. You accused me of violating open meeting laws. I did not. I included the board. I included our outside counsel to try to schedule that meeting for yesterday. So I wanna set the record straight. That is not true. That is not accurate.
It was on that entire email string.
Because I spoke
Wait a minute.
Because I said I would like to sit down, because I speak for myself, I don't speak for other people on the board.
You said, Diane, what is your availability? You seemed anxious to get this information, and I'm happy to sit down with you to discuss.
In a closed meeting.
After all of these emails about
I
scheduling
didn't-
a closed
then
meeting,
I
that
didn't read
included
it.
other
Okay.
people. I'm sorry you misinterpreted that.
I really did.
But,
Yes,
but
you
what
did.
happened is, Diane, that people jumped on us, the two by open meetings law, including our county attorney.
So the comment time's over.
We need
So I
to
just have-
stop, we just need
You
to
have an
stop.
engineer standing out here in the hallway, he's been here for 2 hours, could we just go to the resolution part and get this gentleman back to his job? I'm just asking.
We already
Oh,
did
we
the
already did,
resolution,
Linda.
we already did the resolution.
He's standing out here in the hallway, I don't believe so.
We already passed all the resolutions.
He's standing out here in the hallway, you might wanna address
There's
that,
no
just a
work.
comment, you might wanna address that.
So, anything else before we move on to business?
Nope.
Okay,
I moved to adjourn.
no, we still have stuff we need to talk about. So, any old business to discuss? Okay, moving on to new business, contract policy discussion, possible update. I put this on here because the last time we had a contract policy update, I think it was in 2000, I think it was 2021. So I'm wondering if we should, get a policy update on that.
Wouldn't you want to go through your auditor too to do this?
For contract policy? I mean, we can include her, I have no problem with doing that, but
We always.
well, no, Shelley didn't do the other one, actually, I worked with Matt on that one. So I'm wondering if we should do that, so there's some clarification, because we had some, back when Terry's on regarding the contracts, and then now, when we had to do that emergency purchase for the fire alarm, that was emergency, so we did what we had to do. But on that bid, there was contract language, and, Michele signed that. And, I was advised that we probably should have a policy for contracts in like emergency situations. It's okay for department heads to sign things at a certain level. Some thresholds, and our current policy does not have any of that. So I'm wondering if the board would be open to kind of having that updated, so there's clarity going forward, not only for current department heads, but future department heads or future elected officials, so we don't have any misunderstandings.
So since you worked on it with Matt, you and Steve are gonna do this?
I haven't decided on that. I'm thinking that we should probably include him to a certain extent, but I
Yeah, I
kind of
think it
yield to
needs
the
a
board.
review, I think it needs a review, just as I know we were trying to get a meeting on the calendar for a handbook review, that needs a top-down look.
So do
and
you
it's
wanna
gonna
kind of
take
set
some
this
time.
aside for a while
Well,
and focus on the handbook?
that's, there's gonna be a little bit of overlap, not a lot, but.
Let's
there's
get our
gonna be-
budgets balanced and get stuff,
Yeah.
and then we can go back to this.
Okay,
We can
all
start-
right.
We can do
It
that.
just
We
came
can
up,
start doing
so I
some
wanted
legwork
to.
now, we talked about, we know there's a need, so we can certainly all independently start doing a little bit of legwork, but formally addressing it. I think this handbook, update is gonna be hitting first, because that, I believe is, I don't know the date, Kelly settled in on that.
It's gonna be the next regular.
The next regular?
Well, I think that you brought that up, and I wanted to talk to you about that, is, we have a budget session scheduled right afterwards, and, or is it
I wonder
before,
if
I'm
we
sorry,
should
before. I don't think we should do budget and the handbook at the same time, because those would all be long conversations. I would rather do the budget first, and then schedule a separate time for the handbook.
Yeah.
So, you okay with that, Diane?
Well, we had scheduled on the regular meeting, go over the, bylaws and employee handbook was after that regular meeting. She had requested that right after it, to sit and have a workshop after that regular meeting. That's how I understood it, correct?
If I may speak, Michele is, leaving to go out of town and didn't have the time after this
Today.
to go over, something that was gonna take such a long time. So she offered to do it, in conjunction with another meeting on, the 11th of November at 2.
They said they didn't wanna do that. I did ask them.
I can do the morning of the 11th, I just think it's too much to pack in.
That's just a long
Before our
day.
budget work session, before our regularly scheduled meeting, I just think that's too much at the end of the day to pack in.
So, are you guys thinking of an alternate day then?
How about Kelly, you send out an invite and then we'll figure it out. How would that work? To
Well,
do the handbook.
Well, we need to figure out our schedules, so we
Well,
don't
we
wanna have her waste her time doing back and forth. So, do we have?
Could we do the morning of the 11th?
That's a
I mean,
long
this is
day,
a
then your
long
budget's
day.
all
Well, the
night.
next
How about the
meeting is
10th? How about the 10th,
One
Kelly?
other mention, I believe the 11th is,
Veterans
Veterans Day,
Veterans
which
Day.
is a county holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah, so we
Oh,
won't
it is a
even have
county
a
holiday?
meeting.
I didn't realize it was a county holiday.
I believe it is.
It is.
So we won't have a meeting, we've gotta reschedule that.
Let's stay.
We can still have a meeting, but
Well, well, we're not open.
I didn't think we closed on the.
Yeah, we have Veterans Day.
Hey, this is Michele. I brought this up when we were scheduling the canvas, and I suggested moving the canvas to Wednesday since it was Veterans Day. And you guys did say that you were still having that meeting on Tuesday because the courthouse is open.
Yeah.
So based on that correspondence, our canvas is scheduled for that Tuesday.
Okay, so we still have to have a meeting on Tuesday. So thank you, Michele, for clarifying that. So, but I agree with you, that's a long day, so I would think we should do it a different day. How about the 10th, or we could even do it the first week of November, I'm open to that too.
How about the 10th, Kelly? That's a Monday, is that okay?
Absolutely.
What time, and what time do you want?
I'll make anything available, if you guys have any conflicts or.
What do you think on the 10th?
I think the 25th works a lot better for me.
25th of
November?
November?
And synchronize.
And synchronize at that meeting?
Synchronize with that next meeting,
Oh,
which is a morning meeting.
I think that would work, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Would that work?
Time to break for lunch and then come back at 1?
Break for lunch, come back at 1, what do you think? Is that okay? That work for you?
You bet.
So
Okay.
what time do you want it?
So, 1 o'clock
on the 25th.
on the 25th?
Got it. Thanks, Mac.
And send us an invite to that.
And then I did send an email regarding the open meetings, training, cause there's another one coming up on the 21st. You got.
I think it's the 21st or 12th.
Yeah,
We don't have a link yet.
We don't have the link, I reached out to Allers to keep me on that, and they're also gonna try to get another day dedicated to our county as well.
Okay,
So I'm
I just
working
wanna
on
make
that.
sure that was in the works.
It's still in the works, I'm still waiting for them, their response.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've scheduled that for, our handbook. And so the budget discussion, we're having a budget, meeting on the 11th, so that's good. Telecom inventory update. So I've been working on this for a while. It is a pain to get carriers to respond to you and get information. That's when I discovered that we're paying duplicate services at public health. We have been for quite some time, which is unfortunate. But as part of this cleanup, we'll be able to remove that and fix that. Let me just pull up that inventory here. So, for whatever reason, what we've budgeted for years in our budget is not lining up with what we actually pay. So I think we might also be over budgeting for telecom and internet expenses. So I think we could probably reduce our budget. I'm not final on that, so it's just based on the numbers I'm seeing. So once I finish this evaluation, which I will be sharing with Michele, so she has it as well, because we did not have a telecom inventory at all. So we did not have an inventory of all the phone numbers, where they're at, the circuit IDs, nothing. So that's what I'm building out right now for everybody. And that's when I discovered the possible duplication. So regarding Thaddeus and Jones phones, it's because it's a VoIP system that they're on now, and they're moving to a VoIP system, which is at the courthouse or more than likely here. All they have to do is pick up their phones, plug them in. We would have to do some changes on the telecom side, but it's not gonna be huge. And then once they're moved, we can actually take that circuit down. And that would save us probably about $500 a month. And it would also, we could also remove the, transparent land network that we have, node that we have there, that's another $400 a month. So that will save us quite a bit, and we don't have anything on contract there, so we won't be breaching contract, and if Brady's still here, is Brady still here? Oh, there you are. So, we don't have some of your services on contract, we do have some on contract.
Okay.
So, I know we were talking about Omnitel. I'm waiting to get all my stuff done to find out what breaking the contract on the fiber would be.
Sure.
But are you still in contract with Omnitel for their, how
I'm in
much? are
contact, yeah.
Okay.
But they wouldn't, you don't have a contract with them.
No.
No, I'm talking about the contract with Mediacom for
Yeah,
fiber.
I think that was a big penalty if you broke it.
There was.
It was.
There was, so, cause we looked at that contract and we're like, ew. So, but every month that passes by, that fee
Sure.
reduces, and I wanna see where the ROI is on that, to where moving to Omnitel would save quite a bit of money versus.
Right,
So-
and they're not in yet, so.
And they're not yet, so, once you find out that they're in, can you let us know? Cause then I'll recalculate the numbers on the
Yeah.
contract to see if we can make that switch, because I'm really concerned that you keep losing service. That's bad for our ambulance garage, so, for that, and then, I'm hoping, I think I have a current list of phone numbers as well, so we'll know, that will help with cleanup, cause there are a lot of numbers on here, I think we have too many numbers, to be honest with you, so we might be saving some,
Just drop some lines.
just drop some lines, so, anyway, so once I'm done with that, I'll share with the board and Michele, so we can, know how to move forward, and also we'll have a correct inventory, so when bills come in, we know exactly what they're for. Cause I don't know if you've looked at the bills, they don't really give a lot of information. So, this will be a good, thing for her to maintain if things come up, if she calls, if something goes down. Also, you probably need it too. Because I have the circuit ID, when you call in a repair ticket, all that information will help them process the repair ticket a lot easier.
Okay.
So you don't have to jump through as many hoops. So I'll send that to you as well. Okay, so that's the telecom inventory update.
Circuit ID, probably all the departments would probably use that, couldn't they? If you have that information.
Oh,
The
that's
sheriff's
true.
department,
With the annex, yeah.
yeah.
So
The
they're calling
sheriff's
it-
department's different, isn't that under a state thing?
Let me pull
I
it
thought
up.
they had a Mediacom line item too.
I think they're different.
Let me see, I'm looking.
Is Jason?
They do have, it looks like they have VoIP, with Mediacom. They also have, regular business lines, which are off contract and we're paying a lot of money for. So I think we should figure out how to reduce that cost. And we also have, they have their services in their patrol cars. So, yeah, so a lot of our stuff is off contract and has been for quite some time. I think we could save some costs on putting things on contract as well. So, I can sit down with Michele and discuss that and how she wants to proceed with that. So we get these on contracts and lower the remaining services we decide to keep and lower the ongoing costs as well, so. Okay, I think that is it for the, I'm sorry, my screen went down here. I lost my agenda. The ordinance review and update. Did you have an update on the ordinance? I know you sent us the very first draft.
Yeah, it's rough draft.
It was also given to the zoning commission at the meeting on the 16th of October, kind of as homework for them to take home. I've got our next meeting scheduled November 20th, and Marvin Planning Consultants will be there, to kind of hash over their findings, at that meeting, hopefully.
So this is, just for clarification, this is not anywhere near done.
No.
But we read that, you and I read that contract, they have 18 months to complete this. So we need to light fire under them, and they need to make sure the ordinances go along with zoning. And that's vague in that.
In the contract.
Yes. It's a little vague, but it needs to be in there.
So you're talking about zoning ordinances and subdivision regulations?
Yes,
As if, yes, and I asked Michele to send me that contract that was signed. And I've actually sent 2 emails to the consultant since then, in the past week, and asked if it was inclusive, the subdivision regulations, and have gotten no response as to whether that's part of what they're doing or not.
Okay.
I know that what they provided us doesn't have anything about subdivision regulations in it at this point.
It should, so, yeah, so,
Convey that to them, will
yeah.
ya?
I have the agenda back. Thank you, Ryan. The one thing too, I forgot, we skipped over, server access point purchase license renewal. So we have some, our wireless access points have reached end of life. And so we need to make a purchase on that. With the changes in public health, I don't know how we wanna handle that. And then there's also, that's the immediate point, we need to do that too, because the end of life is at the end of the year, so we're gonna have to make this purchase. The other thing, this is a next year thing, early next year thing, but our server is reaching end of life as well, I think in May. So, we're gonna have to purchase that, that's a much bigger purchase. So, I can't remember the quote offhand, but I think it was $50,000 or a little over $50,000 for that.
We did have a citizen recommend we contact the state, I think it was DAS, to see if they had some options and maybe some more economical options for us.
Okay.
So it might be something for us to explore that.
Okay. So, do you have a contact
Heather,
information?
this is Michele.
Yes, Michele.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just thought maybe, you could meet with me on that, or I could
Sure.
do my IT thing with that?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding the server, is she talking about the server? or
Just
something?
all of it, probably. 'Cause
Oh, are you talking about, Michele, just to clarify, are you talking about all telecom or just the server and access point purchase?
The server and access point.
Okay, all right, so if you could,
I'll forward that
can
information.
you forward that
to
information to
yeah.
both of us, and then we can meet and talk about that? And then we could talk
And
a
I
little.
also have it on the IT ticket.
Good, and then we can talk a little bit more about the telecom stuff that I found too, so, if you want, okay, all right, and unless there's anything else that you guys wanna discuss, we don't have any meetings scheduled next week, correct?
No, it's election, yeah.
It's election.
Yeah, they asked you not.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're too busy.
So, all right, so, otherwise, if you guys have nothing else to discuss, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.